Hello, friends and family. I wanted to make a video today to talk about something that we talk about in our office all the time, and for real estate agents, it's kind of common knowledge. But I wanted to share this information with you guys because it might not be common knowledge to you. So I wanted to break down some things for anyone who's looking to PCS this summer or move anywhere really. But if you're looking to move to Fort Bragg specifically, then obviously this all definitely applies. But really the industry, the atmosphere of our real estate industry is across the country. So no matter where you're moving, no matter where you're PCSing, this could still be beneficial to be aware of. So if you are at all familiar with the real estate market in our area, or if like you're friends with a real estate agent or anything like that, then you guys are probably aware that it's a seller's market, right? It's a great time to sell. There are so few homes and more buyers, which supply and demand. The sellers are getting higher price points for their homes, the values are increasing, things like that. So in general, it's a good time to sell. But I don't want that to discourage you if you are a buyer or a potential buyer. So if you are moving to the Fort Bragg area, to Fayetteville, and you're on the fence about whether or not you want to buy or rent, or what your options are, there's a couple of things that I just wanted to point out to you. It's still okay to buy. Interest rates are still low. It's still a good time for you. There are not a lot of homes for sale, but it's not impossible. You just have to find a good real estate agent who is up to speed with what's happening in the market, who can educate you, who can guide you through the process and give you the very best advice possible to get you into that home. Now, the home buying process might take a little bit longer, so be prepared for that. You will also be having to come out of pocket with some additional costs that maybe a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 ago you weren't. And that was driven by more of a buyer's market. And now that things have shifted into a seller's market, who pays for what has shifted naturally. So we're going to go over what those fees are. But the other thing that I wanted for you to keep in mind is that if you are on the fence between buying and renting, for instance, rentals can still be risky. This has happened to a number of my friends. Their landlords have decided to sell because it's such a good market to sell in right now, and that's left them with no option but to find another rental, and they're having to relocate or pack up and move their family to another home while they're still here at the Fort Bragg area. So that can be kind of an issue. It is still a little bit risky to rent a house because the rental market here is always competitive. And now with landlords opting to sell, that really leaves renters in kind of a sticky situation with having to find a new rental, especially if you have children, a family, things like that. So that's just something that I want to keep in mind because I'm seeing a lot more of it lately, and it's kind of heartbreaking. Like it really is. I wish there was more that I could do to help those families. The only thing that I can suggest, and I know this is going to sound biased, but it's to buy. It's to create that stability for you and your family. And real estate is always an investment. So whether it's right now in the market of, where it's more of a seller's market or in a completely different atmosphere, it's always an investment. So you always want to be thinking about it long term, 5 to 10 years at least. Military families, typically we can only plan out our lives for 2 to 3 years at a time. And I understand that 100%. So, whether you PCS again and you decide to use your house as a rental, you can purchase additional homes using your VA home loan. Whether you decide to sell in just a short 2 to 3 years, that's completely up to you, but you do have different options. And so I am all for buying. I really do think that it's a good investment, even in this market. So let's touch on the things that you are going to be paying for as a buyer. And this is not 100% of the time by any means. It depends on what you're looking for in a house, whether that is, the different price points, whether you're looking to invest in something to fix it up, if you want move-in ready, number of bedrooms, location, proximity to Fort Bragg. The higher in demand of a house that you're looking for, the better chances are you're going to be having to pay more out of pocket in one or all of these different areas that I'm about to go over. Now, if you are looking for, a smaller home with less bedrooms, something with income potential where you can, make repairs and upgrades and updates, you might have a little bit more wiggle room. But those 3, 4, 5 bedroom homes that are perfectly move-in ready, in a good area, not too long of a commute to Fort Bragg, those are at a premium. So just be prepared for that, that's all. So some of the costs that you're going to incur as a buyer, first and foremost is your credit report. As soon as you apply for a mortgage loan, they're going to pull your credit and you pay for that at closing. The initial costs are going to be things like your due diligence fee and your earnest money deposit. Those are actually due as soon as you are under contract. As soon as it's communicated that all parties have signed that contract, that money is owed. Now, your due diligence fee is money that you are literally paying to the seller to take their house off the market while you do your inspections. In North Carolina, the home that you're purchasing is sold as is. But what I like to tell clients is that you and I are not experts on how a home is built or, the electrical issues, the all the different ins and outs of a home. So it's our job to hire professionals to come in and tell us exactly what that as-is condition is. That doesn't mean that we can't ask for repairs. It doesn't mean that we can't do things like that. But in North Carolina, you're buying the house as is, and you have the right to really, really find out what that as-is condition is. I hope that makes sense. So that due diligence money goes to the seller. The earnest money deposit is basically a good faith deposit. That's saying that you are a serious home buyer, you're very interested in that property, and that money goes to the attorney's office to hold until closing. Now, that due diligence money and earnest money deposit get returned back to you at the closing table. So when you go through this process and you sit back down and you sign your book of papers that says you are an official homeowner, that money actually gets credited back to you in the form of closing costs. Now, if you have to back out of that contract for any reason, that's when you may or may not get some of these fees back, the due diligence money and the earnest money deposit. And that's just, details that you can talk about with your real estate agent. But just keep in mind that that's money due up front, and when you get to the end of the transaction, it gets returned back to you. So that's a little less scary. You also have all of your inspection fees, your homeowners, your home inspection, your if you chose to do anything else, a roof inspection, HVAC inspection, pool inspection, well, septic, all of those different things, a survey. You have the right to do all of those inspections. They just all cost money. And that's perfectly fine. You have the right to do every single one of them. And I highly, highly encourage you to at least get a home inspection, always. Home inspections typically run about $350 to $500 on average. Other inspections, their prices vary as well. Then you have your miscellaneous closing costs, and these depend on which lender you decide to go through for your mortgage loan. So when you are shopping around for lenders, be sure to ask some of these questions. Your closing costs typically are 2% to 5% of the purchase price of the home. 3 to 4% is more average, really. And those are things that cover like your loan origination fees, your attorney fees, your title fees, your homeowner's insurance premium, your taxes, your private mortgage insurance, depending on your loan type, prepaid interest, all kinds of stuff. So those are all things to consider. So if you are, buying a $200,000 house, then you might want to factor in, 3.5% to 4% for closing costs outside of your inspections and things like that. So That's all information that you should be talking with your real estate agent about when you're looking to buy, to make sure that you have that cash on hand to purchase a home. Now, there are options out there for 100% financing for different FHA programs and things like that. And that's, again, where shopping around with different lenders can benefit you to figure out exactly which loan program is best for you. So there are different options if you don't have $5,000 to $10,000 to $15,000 to get into a home right now, and that's understandable. So just shop around, talk with real estate agents who are currently active in the market. They can help guide you. I know most of us have lenders that we work really closely with, home inspectors we work really closely with, different home service providers that we can help you get in touch with to make the transaction, make the journey for you that much more smooth. That's our goal, right? Is to help you guys from the starting point all the way to the finish line. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure that the buyers out there who are looking to PCS this summer, don't feel discouraged. It's always a good time to buy real estate. It's always an investment. Rentals are, sometimes equally as risky. So it's still a good decision, in my opinion. It's still a good decision to at least consider buying in your area. And if you have any questions, especially with the Fort Bragg market in particular, just give me a call, reach out to me. I'm on Facebook, on Instagram. I pass out my cell phone number and my email address like candy. So feel free to reach out, ask questions. I'm here. I love helping people, answer questions. And even if it's not in the Fort Bragg area, if you're PCSing to, Washington State or Texas or Georgia or New York, it doesn't matter. I can either help put you in touch with another agent who is equally as educated and dedicated, or I can just help guide you a little bit based on, industry trends overall. But don't be discouraged if you are looking to move, if you are thinking of buying. It is a seller's market, but that doesn't mean that you can't achieve your real estate goals. So that's all I have for you. I hope that this was encouraging for some of you. I hope it was informative, and I hope to hear from some of you guys soon. Have a great day.